In this video, I'm going to teach you what I've learned so far about how to optimize deep work and improve your productivity so that you can get more work done in a day than you do in an entire week. I want to first start off by talking about what deep work is and what shallow work is. Deep work is when you get into a state of deep focus to work on a cognitive demanding task that is important to you and actually gets the ball moving in terms of making progress towards something that you want to achieve, like a goal. This is something that takes a lot more energy and a lot more willpower to complete, which is why a lot of people tend to procrastinate on it because it's pretty hard to get into and stay focused during it. Which comes into the next point, which is shallow work. Shallow work doesn't take a lot of energy and it doesn't take a lot of willpower to start or even complete, which is why so many people tend to prefer the shallow work side of things instead of going into a deep work state. Shallow work are activities that seem like you're doing work, seem like you're doing something important, but in reality, you're not really doing anything. And so by the time your week ends and you try and find something or you try and prove that you've done something for the week, you can't really find anything and you have nothing to show for. These activities of shallow work include things like reading your notes for studying, highlighting them. Like, that's not really important and that's not something that requires a lot of cognitive function. So that's why people often do that instead of actually using flashcards or active recall or using like some kind of teaching technique. You can also do activities like checking your email, which is also considered a shallow work task. All of these things we often tend to lean more towards, and we tend to do more shallow work instead of the deep work. And I'm not perfect myself. I also catch myself doing shallow work tasks like switching through tabs or checking my email or messages to see who texted me instead of actually working on the important task that will get the ball moving. But through some research that I've done, plus some experience that I've gained over time, I want to share with you how you can optimize deep work and get more work done. The first thing that you want to establish is your deep work schedule. This is a schedule that you choose where you block out times to put towards deep work. So an example of this would be every single morning for like 1 or 2 hours, you would dedicate that time for deep work to do the things that you think or that you find important. Or you can take it more extreme and you can dedicate days, literal days, where you would just do deep work. You would do that for a couple times in a week, and then the rest of the week you would just be doing shallow work tasks. But just make sure you're not having it so you're doing deep work whenever you feel like it. So now here are the 3 things that I believe will help you optimize and improve your deep work. The 3 things are rituals, environment, and training. Rituals are the actions that you do every single time before you get into a deep work state. It's like activities that you do to let your brain know that it's time to get into a state of deep work. These could be things like locking your door, closing and locking your door, placing your filled up water bottle on your desk, clearing off your desk, and then setting out the things that you need, like pencil and paper and your notebook. This is basically my kind of ritual, but you can do so many different things. I've heard many people do like a walk before they get into a deep work state, and then they fill up their coffee, and then you can have, I don't know, some other things that you find will help you get into that deep work state. And if you don't have a specific place where you live that's dedicated towards like studying or working, and instead you just work or study in your bedroom, I recommend this one thing that would actually really help with your ritual. And that thing is having a specific lamp that you turn on whenever you're going into a deep work time block, or a deep work state. Only have this lamp on whenever you're actually working on something that is considered deep work. And then as soon as you're finished or you're taking a break, make sure to turn that off, and then to indicate that you finished the time block or the deep work time. I found this really interesting after learning it from a lecture that I've watched several months ago, and if you're interested in watching that as well, I'll put a link in the description below. Next is environment. Your environment is what is around you during your time of being in a focused state and working on an important task. You need to make sure that your environment encourages you to stay focused and not get distracted. This means clearing your desk off of any distractions or any like messiness to ensure a clean workspace so that you can focus on the work that is in front of you. So this means getting rid of your phone, making sure that it is out of sight and not somewhere where you can easily access it and just start scrolling on your phone. You also need to make sure that your environment is quiet so that you can get into a focused state a lot easier, and as well as being a place where you can't be easily interrupted by other people, because that also takes you out of that deep work state. Finally, I want to talk about the expectations and training, especially when it comes to the people who are just starting with deep work. If you have not been doing any deep work for a while and you're constantly on your phone during your downtime, you're going to have a hard time concentrating during your first deep work session that you scheduled for yourself. This is because you're out of shape in terms of your mental cognitive function. So you're going to have to build it back up to the point where you're able to focus for long periods of time. But just know you're going to have a hard time staying focused and getting that work done because you are cognitively out of shape and you haven't been doing deep work for a while, if at all, if this is your first time. But don't let this discourage you and try your best to stay focused and bring your attention back to your work. If I were you, I would probably start with 30-minute work blocks of deep work with a break in between, and then gradually as you start to get more comfortable with 30 minutes, you build it up to 60 minutes, and you get comfortable with that and you build up to 90 minutes. And then you can stop there, or you can go even further and have even longer periods of time. I would do this instead of just going straight into the 2-hour work period, for example, because you might have a hard time and you might be disappointed in yourself to find that you can't stay focused for that time. Take breaks in between work blocks when needed, but this is not the time to do instant gratification activities like being on your phone. Instead, do activities that help you recover for the next work block, like going on a nice walk or doing something that helps you relax, like a hobby that you enjoy. And those are a couple things that I believe will help you optimize your deep work and help you get more work done in a day. At least try one thing from this video that I mentioned to improve your deep work. This can be the ritual that you set up for yourself, or the environment that you want to set up, or even the training, that progressive overload, kind of like what you do in the gym, except when it comes with time and deep work. Just try at least one of these and see if it works for you. And yeah, if you have any suggestions that you want to give to me to improve my videos, whether that be visuals, editing, or just the style, or what topics you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new. And thank you so much for watching.